Welcome back, friends. And if this is your first time here, my name is Jasmine and I watch a shit ton of TV. And one type of show that I love to watch is dating shows. I've done commentary on Married at First Sight, Love Island, but I wanted to talk to someone who had like real life experience on a dating show. So please welcome Clay from Love is Blind season 6. Hello, Clay.
Jazz, what's up? Thank you for having me.
Of course. Oh, it's my pleasure. Clay, I had to reach out to you because I follow you on TikTok and your commentary around Love Island. I like it. It's bold, it's unapologetic. I agree
Yeah.
with a lot of your takes, even when they're unpopular. So I was like, I need to talk to this guy.
Yeah, unpopular opinion, Clay. That's why I kind of started a little series called Opinions Nobody Asked For, because no one wants to hear my opinions. But, Jazz, I always was like that, even before the show.
Yeah.
I've always felt like I've had opinions that wasn't like the masses, and I feel like that should be celebrated. I
Hmm.
don't want to get into this world where everybody thinks the same. So sometimes I come on here and they be on my ass about it, but it's all good.
I'm the same way, honestly. I've had like arguments with people like in groups just about I look at things objectively, and I think
Yeah.
that today, especially in today's society, people expect if you share an identity with someone, you have to automatically be on their side or agree with everything they do. And I'm just like, well, every side has shitty people or every side has something that I disagree with. Why do I have to blindly, pledge allegiance to someone because we share, similar identities?
Yeah, and I also think like communication just needs to step up. Not everything's offensive.
Yeah,
If I have a different opinion than you, let's just call it what it is. It's a debate. It doesn't have to
exactly.
be an argument. It doesn't have to be, oh, you're a wrong person because you don't see the same view as me. So, I'll say social media has been interesting after I did the show. I feel
Yeah.
like I'm in this like a new matrix of, man, I'm judged by everything. Like, how dare you talk? You did that to our queen. It's like, I'm all right, chill.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because before we dive into kind of talking about how your experience on Love is Blind informed how you watch Love Island, I do want to zoom out a little bit because I don't know if people fully understand like what happens after you leave a reality TV dating show. Like I'm an executive producer, but I
Yeah.
mainly produce podcasts. I'm used to like my talent saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing and then people attacking them. I can't imagine being on TV and that happening. And I know you've talked about this since the show, but if you want to give people a quick refresher, after season 6, you became infamous for saying no at the altar. What was life like immediately following? And then has it softened in the time since?
Yeah, so after I did Love is Blind, it definitely was like the whole world was like watching us. So it's like a little quick 15 minutes where you kind of feel like you're famous. I'll go out to grocery stores, people notice you, taking pictures everywhere. You almost kind of feel like you have to put on a face, like you're a little bit performative in everything that you do just because people are watching you. Going to the airports, I had a lot of married men, black married men pull me to the side, want to have conversations. I'm like, where were y'all niggas at in the conversation when they was killing me? They always like, yo, brother, I love what you said and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, so the men feel me about
Right.
some of the struggles when it comes to males, when it comes to marriage. And, I was just bringing up certain things that, affected my household. I thought it was interesting. I did the show. I was like, kind of talking about my demons, and people were like, you ain't shit for talking about your demons, but it's all good.
Which is like
Um,
so sad though, right? Because I,
yeah.
I remember on the reunion, I was like kind of getting teary eyed a little bit when you were talking about that. And then when you like shouted out Brett for, it was emotional.
Yeah, yeah, it's all good. But immediately after, it definitely was a little bit of a whirlwind. You kind of feel like everybody's watching you. It does kind of die down a little bit. I would say, 2 months, 3 months out, you still get invited to like different influencer event. So I'll say like the media hype, the pressure is about a year. Now we're in the year 2025. It's been well over a year for me doing Love is Blind. For some reason, I still feel like I like could get in harm's way on social media if I say the wrong thing. Like recently, with the video that I made about Nic and Olandria relationship, that kind of blew up, and people were like, "How
Mhm.
dare you say anything?" So you're still like put under this chopping block of what they saw you for the TV show. And for those that don't know, like you're filming for 5 weeks, and you probably get about an hour and a half worth of footage.
Yeah.
When I was there for 5 weeks, so it's like you don't really know who that person is. You kind of know what that storyline that person would receive. And it's a little bit weird because you're judged in that lens in every aspect of your life. And like the only way to debunk it is if someone has a conversation with you because,
Mhm.
everyone just kind of looks at you from the lens of you did that girl wrong at the altar or you was with Selena Powell or something like that. So I'm always I almost feel like my reputation took a bit of a hit. I'm a big reader, 40 Law of Power. And, it's been one of the things I've been thinking about, man, did I mess up? But I would say that, the experience did bring me closer to God, where, he doesn't make any mistakes. And maybe this is the will to make me a better human being altogether. Maybe the world will never see it, but the people who are in touch with me, encounter with me on a day-to-day basis will see some of the, I guess, positives from it.
Yeah, I think it's certainly a learning experience, and I think that's one thing that I've learned from being just a connoisseur of reality TV. I've been watching it since the early days. Like, The Real World was like a show I loved back in the day, right? But when we watch
Yeah.
people like you on these shows, it's like we're watching you. Not only are we watching a very edited, watered down version of who you are, we're also watching you at a moment in time in your entire life. So, like,
Yeah.
we're watching these 5 weeks play out, but you have your whole entire life before the show and then after the show. And so I think it's unfair to judge someone based on seeing them on reality TV. Even Huda with Love Island, right? Like, she was probably the most polarizing character for season 7 of Love Island. I think she has some horrible moments. I don't think that she's going to be a horrible person for her entire life, and I
Yeah.
feel like, unfortunately for her, well, fortunately for her, it worked out. She has like 6 million followers. People kind of like her.
They
I
love
think
her.
the villainization of Huda actually kind of made people pity her and turned her into a fan favorite. But in your case and like other cases, you do kind of remain a villain for a while. But I think it's really unfair because if you made a mistake and you owned up to your mistakes, even on the reunion, you make a mistake once on TV and that follows you for so long, even after
Hmm.
you've said ad nauseum, I am not this person. This was only 5 weeks. Let me live, kind of thing. So I do feel bad for you guys in that sense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we sign up for it in a sense. I mean, you never prepare for the whole world to dissect you. It's like
Mhm.
weird. You're like kind of watching tape on yourself. You're like a fly in a room where everybody's having conversation with you. So, reality TV kind of gives you a glimpse of a world that you're really not prepared for because you're
Yeah.
not supposed to hear everybody's opinion about yourself. And now it's like you have to now garner and, kind of not look at everybody comment section. You can't look at social media the same. I know when I did Love is Blind, that was all over my timeline. And anytime my face would come up, I know somebody saying, something bad about me. And it definitely hurt my feelings for sure. I found out that I'm pretty sensitive. I thought I
Mhm.
wasn't until I kind of went into it. And, it definitely hurt, but I would say it made me stronger, whereas, you kind of just rely on other people's feelings. I mean, you rely on the people who are actually around you. So
Yeah.
in a way, I do feel it was kind of a lot to go through, but I would say, I don't regret anything. It probably makes me the better person. So,
Yeah.
no victims over here.
Right, exactly. No victims at all. I also do want to quick touch before we start talking about Love Island, the real world ramifications of like people wanting to dissect everything that they see on reality TV. Because you made one of your TikTok videos, you mentioned that like people were doxing you, like sending your address out,
Yeah,
using your photo on other dating sites, leaving 1-star reviews for your business. Were you able to rectify any of that, or did you kind of just have to let it pass?
you gotta let it pass. So when I did Love Is Blind, after I said no at the altar, I had about once 15 one-star reviews, and that kind of affected my business because my business was at a 5-star. That put me down to 4.3. So
Mm,
thankfully this year we probably seen like 100 new reviews, so we got it back to 4.7. But yeah, just from people who never rented my boats, never got on my equipment, my vessels, never met me, all gave me one-star reviews, and that plummeted the ratings on my business. And business ratings is huge, especially for entrepreneur,
mhm.
black owned. And it's so sad because it was like black women that were doing it as well. It's like
Yeah.
kind of tearing me down. And it's I wasn't really aware of the gender war that we face, and even like the stuff that dark skinned women go through, because I never thought about it. I'm like, I date black women. So I like
Mhm,
every time
mhm,
when I saw
mhm,
like the rhetoric going around, I never thought it tended to me. So it's like when they
mhm.
were kind of saying calling men colorists and stuff like that, I never really even paid attention to it. Cause I'm like, well, that's not me at all. So then when it was like I'm the one getting attacked, it definitely kind of hurt. And the real world complications and ramifications of black women kind of like tearing me down and giving me one-star reviews. That definitely not like betrayal because I kind of understand their perspective of what was displayed on reality TV, and I
Mhm,
understand how like black women's I would say narrative when it comes to reality TV.
mhm.
So I'm definitely well aware of that, but it definitely was hurtful. Like that, I feel like it was my own kind were like the ones
Yeah.
tearing me down. And I almost felt like when I was around other races, it was like I was celebrated more. So The one of the
Mm,
weirdest things I probably had to go through because I identify as black. I'm comfortable in black spaces. After the show, it was like I was uncomfortable in black spaces because black people noticed
mm,
me quicker. I was judged quicker in the black spaces where if I go to a white brewery, I'm
mhm,
good. Like I'm not
mhm,
getting asked crazy questions. I'm good. I'm having a good time. I remember I was in Atlanta and I'll just get weird stares and like I was at MGQ or something like that. And I'm just getting weird stares from women and just very uncomfortable feelings. So the real world ramifications is just like awkwardness, like
yeah,
doing the regular things that you would do before you did the show. It's like you can't do that anymore. You know,
yeah.
going out by yourself is not the same. You know, going out with friends, like if you, God forbid, if you're going on a date with somebody, now you get recorded. You know,
Right. Oh my gosh, yeah, no, that's awful. I couldn't imagine that, and I imagine it had to be, like, almost like a mind fuck, right? To, like to
Mhm.
your point, people that you have uplifted and, like you mentioned, you've only dated within your race, and for people to assume that's not the case and then kind of punish you for an assumption that was incorrect. That
Yeah.
had to be so wow. Just even imagining that is, like, making me feel really bad.
Yeah, it was definitely tough, and I don't think I went about a lot of the stuff right. Like I know I kind of made on my TikTok. I kind of made it where I was like, you know what, I'm done with trying to be like this good guy that's trying to, appear and say all the right things. Let me just, shoot back at some people. And I would say that probably wasn't the best thing to do because it ended up looking like I was just like going at women who were the
Mhm.
main ones kind of attacking me. But, I was hurt, at the end of the day, I feel like I did a lot even prior to me joining Love is Blind for the Black community,
Mhm.
just from an athletic perspective of, always giving back to Black kids, back where I'm at. And just like most of my homegirls are like Black women, I feel like I spend mad time. Like I put in work
Mhm.
with Black
Mhm.
women. You know what I mean? I never turned my back on Black women. So it was like almost like you're our enemy was very hurtful, and that's something I probably didn't go about right with accepting. I probably should have just went about a different way. But I was hurt, kind of going at it. And you probably seen some of the videos and stuff like that, and probably itching on to my narrative of he hates Black women. I'm just like, damn, that's not the case, but y'all getting me upset.
Right. I'm just defending myself at this point.
Yeah,
Like a damned if you do, damned if you don't
yeah,
kind of thing. And I want to switch gears a little bit because, like I said, I reached out to you because I have loved watching your TikTok videos about season 7 of Love Island USA. But I imagine watching a show like that is different for you than it is for me. I'm watching just as a viewer. You're watching as someone who has lived a similar experience. So, can you talk to me about what it's like watching that show or any other reality dating show that you've consumed, being someone who was on the inside of it?
yeah, definitely. I would say watching reality TV is never going to be the same for me because I feel like I'm watching it from the lenses of the castmates and the cast members. So I'm always kind of just like picking up, like, all right, this storyline happened. How did producers influence it? Just because I know that happens a lot on the show, like if a storyline is picked up. So it's definitely interesting watching it. I thought something that really got my attention was the whole Taylor and Olandria thing, then the Nic and Olandria thing only because I felt like the backlash that Taylor got was similar to the backlash that I got.
Mhm.
Alandria was a fan favorite, just like AD was a fan favorite on my show. So it's like it didn't really matter what Taylor did. Taylor was going to be attacked if he did not go with the fan favorite. It was almost like Taylor will only get love if he treated the fan favorite right.
Mhm.
So, it's kind of like, damn if you did, damn if you don't. And it's like Taylor actually has a good relationship with Clark. And I was like, let's stick to the premise of Love Island. If you guys watched Love Island before, they have a strong relationship. I don't even see why people would want Alandra to be with somebody who doesn't truly want them. Like that doesn't even click in my head of like, why would we want Alandra to be with somebody who doesn't want her? And
Mhm.
like, so I just didn't understand a little bit of the backlash. I get that you want Taylor to be as transparent as possible, but I just want people to realize, hey, it's a TV show. He's known her for 3 weeks. And it's not like he's going out there picking the women. Like
Mhm.
the producers pick the women, and it could be a situation where the women that they pick is not your preference, and that's not a
Mhm.
crime.
Mhm.
If I don't know you and you pick 5 women, I'm just like, Jazz, they're cool, but it's not like I'm not in awe with them. That's not a crime. Like you just
Mhm.
pick 5 random people. There's so many people in this world, so we got to start giving some people some slack and understand that they're human beings and everybody has preferences. And the fact that you might not be their preference, it's not a slight to you. There's so
Right.
many other people who will value you and see you as that queen. So I'm one at one point. I'm happy for Alandria. I'm happy that she has fan base. I would love to. If I was in the villa, I would have got Alandria. Just not off of, not even off of like her beauty, but I really liked her mentally. She was really mentally stimulated. I liked her conversations. I liked how she just wasn't physical. She really tried to understand a lot about you. And where I felt like Taylor was not as deep as
Mhm.
Alandria was, so I already kind of looked at it like maybe they're not compatible, where I feel
Same.
like Clark is more compatible with Taylor.
Mhm, mhm.
So I just didn't understand a little bit of the backlash that they still are getting to this day of pinning up Clark and Olandra. It's like black women should not be going against black women. We need to stop comparing dark skin
Exactly.
to light skin. Just
Mhm.
all this negative rhetoric.
Okay.
Definitely watching it from, Taylor's backlash definitely brought a lot of reminiscence of what I went through with Love is Blind.
Yeah, and just to stay on like the whole Taylor, Clark, Olandria, Nick thing, I agree with you. I thought that it was so disingenuous of just, us as a community, if I'm speaking candidly, that because Taylor and Olandria didn't work out, regardless of like how you felt about the way that Taylor went about it, I feel like Clark was punished in that and people were making fun of her, talking about her. And I'm like, this is the exact thing that we get mad about if like other races did it, right? But
Mhm.
it's not, it doesn't make it okay because it's other black people. You're still tearing a black woman down who has done nothing but the job that she was hired to do. She was supposed to come in and break up the connections if she could, and she did just that. It was a connection that wasn't strong to begin with. I made a couple of videos about that. Like Taylor and Olandria never matched to me. From the moment I saw the two of them, I'm like, she feels so much more of a grown up in comparison
Mhm.
to Taylor. And yeah, you're right. I think Taylor and Clark were a much better match. I also made a video telling Olandria to just leave because
Yeah.
I don't think her man was in the house. Jalen was probably the
Mm-mm.
closest,
I
but
think
I
so
don't think
too.
her man was there. Yeah. And so I was like, when she got with Nick, I was like, am I the only one that doesn't see this? Does not make sense to
Yeah.
me at all. And yeah, I saw your videos. There's a good group of people who think like us who are like, this Nick and Olandria thing feels
Yeah.
opportunistic, right?
Mhm.
Individually, as people, Nick and Olandria seem amazing.
Yeah.
But putting
I
them
like both of
together,
them.
yeah, you
Yeah.
can tell that it's not genuine. Have you been keeping up with what's going on with season 6 cast member Janae and Kenny, their breakup?
I I seen it recently, and
Yeah.
I got to see what Kenny. I guess, is it alleged what he said about with the black women
Yeah,
comment?
yeah.
Is that alleged?
I don't think there's been any confirmation, but
Okay.
yeah.
If he said that though,
Yeah, it's crazy,
that's
right?
crazy. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And I brought
Like,
that up as a comparison though, because people I didn't watch season 6, so I didn't see what was happening in real time. Did you watch
yeah,
season
me
6?
either.
Okay.
I watched clips of it. I know the storylines, but I didn't watch it like I watched Seven.
Right, right. So I wasn't watching it in real time, but there's a group of people that were saying when Kenny came into the villa, they were like, "Oh, he's opportunistic. He just wants to choose Janae because Janae doesn't have any options, and
Yeah.
he wants clout from this." And people said that, and they were like, they were silenced. Like people attacked them, and it's very reminiscent of how people are now with the Nic Olandria thing. Those of us who don't agree with it, we're attacked. Not saying that Nick is going to come out and be racist or anything, but doesn't that feel similar? Like we are saying we don't think this is real, and then a year from now, if it comes out that it was all fake, we're going to be vindicated.
And it's just, let's, as human beings, let's be honest and have conversations. Like, a couple narratives we need to get out, right? If you do reality TV, there's a little bit of you that wants to be a little bit famous. Like, you're not
Exactly.
about to do a TV show where the cameras are on you the whole time, where you're like, okay, I don't want to be a little famous. So with that premise already, if we believe that's true, there's some people who are going to do stuff for clout. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
There's some people who are going to do that. So it's like, when it's almost like, if I would have said yes to AD at the altar, I'm doing it for clout, because I knew that two dark skinned people, we would have made it. That's gonna blow up, but that's not genuine. It
Mhm.
shouldn't lead
Mhm.
people on for clout. And the
You
same
didn't want to
thing with,
fake.
yeah, they didn't want to fake it. And how can you even fake like love and marriage? I don't even know how people do that. So even props to Kenny for faking it this long. I don't
Not
know how he did
props.
it. I don't know how you could just live
Me
like
either.
in
Yeah.
somebody else's skin. And you said, he said he don't like black. And now allegedly, if
Allegedly.
he said he didn't like black women, he just doing this to f other girls. It's like, damn, what, bro? It's been a year.
That's
Like,
crazy. That's
that's
psychotic,
crazy.
actually.
That, like, I know, and it's like, Janae, if this is how this man feels, like, now I'm kind of acting like you didn't see no signs of this. I can't see myself living with a
Mm.
racist and I'm not. hearing no signs. You know what I
You would
mean?
think
Like
so, right? Because I'm of the mind when people are like, people can fake stuff so well. I'm like, no, I like to think that I am perceptive enough that I can pick up on something. I've been watching Beyond the Villa. I've
yeah.
been watching it saying I don't feel like Kenny is as invested. So yeah, like to your
That's your
point.
first time watching him fully,
Yeah,
watching him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
What makes you think that? What makes you think that like
It's
he's
just like he
not like
didn't wanna live
engaged?
with her. Like they so for
Okay.
Beyond the Villa, I don't have you been watching it?
No, I've seen clips of it.
Okay.
I do. Is it good?
I think you have to be really invested in the season 6 cast in order for you to
Okay.
really enjoy
To
it.
really
Like,
like it.
I
Okay.
started watching season 6. I made it actually all the way up to the episodes where Kenny does come in. So I was able to see him interact with Janae
Yeah.
initially, but it was like I
Yeah.
was watching season 6 and 7. I'm like, this is too much damn Love Island
Yeah.
at the same
That's a lot.
time.
Love
So I
Island
was
out.
right. I was watching Beyond the Villa though, because I was like, I am familiar with them. And in the show, so they have all of the former Love Island cast. They moved to LA for the summer, and then they're kind of filming their lives with them living in LA for the summer. So
That's
Kenny lives in
crazy.
Dallas. Yeah. Janae lives in Las Vegas. And they got apartments next to each other. He didn't want to live in the same apartment with her. It was 2 months and they were going to live there for free. The show was going to pay for them to live there. He didn't want to live with her. So he wanted them to get apartments right next door to each other versus just living together. So that for me was the first red flag because I'm like, they've been together for almost a year. I understand if you think moving in with each other permanently is that's too soon, but for 2 months for free in LA,
That's crazy.
you couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then yeah, so that was probably like the biggest red flag for me. And then I don't want to say I was just picking up on the vibe because I feel like saying that in hindsight, everybody's gonna be like, well, now you know. So of course you picked up on a vibe. But like I said, I
Yeah.
like to think I'm very perceptive. So when I watch these shows, I'm looking at body language, I'm looking at how they act when there's like a crowd of people around. There was one episode where she was doing this like a social media thing, and he just seemed so detached. Like he seemed completely unhappy with the recording. And he said it in the show, like he wants to kind of go back to his real life where he was like working a regular job and like, this life isn't for him. So maybe his energy was because he just was figuring out that he didn't like the life in the
Yeah.
limelight. But now that all of this is coming out, I'm like, oh, my suspicions are confirmed in a different way. It's not because he didn't like the limelight. It's because maybe he didn't like Janae, you know?
Well, the limelight is tough to do when you're faking it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I
yeah.
remember when I was doing the show, and after they wanted me to do a lot of scenes, because after my reunion, I professed my love to AD and let her know
Hmm.
that I really cared about her. So I almost felt like when that happened, they wanted me to keep doing stuff with her. Now, me saying that was just me kind of reflecting off of what I seen from the show. That was my first time watching it, and man, maybe I made a mistake, but it wasn't like, "Hey, I'm ready to be your husband right now." You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? And it was almost like, "Oh, Clay, you said that, so let's kind of put you in places to do media with her." And I'm like, "Well, me and her haven't had that full on conversation yet. So I don't want to fake it in the media."
Right.
I think it's tough to go out and do interviews and like profess love. And now you have like sound bites that could kind of put you together. Like it's definitely a difficult situation. And it kind of going back to the Nic and Olandria thing, I think it's crazy that when you talk about real life stuff, Sierra and Nic are talking for 3 weeks, and then you come back home and then you don't say anything to her, and it's you close off, you have sex with her. And I just want people to, let's get back to reality now. Let's not look at it from the lens of your fan favorite. If somebody has sex with you and you're engaged and you're talking to them for 3 weeks, they have sex with you, and then you leave the next day and then you never hear from that person again, that is the definition of ghosting.
Hmm.
And nobody wants to be ghosted. So it's like when I say that Nic got away with a lot of stuff that to me, other men and reality shows could never get away with, I really meant that. And the reason
Agree.
why is because he had the Landria thing. But
You brought up a really good point. I think Nic has gotten away with being so sketchy. Like, and
mhm,
then the argument now, people are saying he doesn't owe Sierra a phone call. He doesn't? Imagine a man having sex with you on TV and probably not even good sex either, because he said it was like 30, 45 seconds. Okay.
yeah.
So on national TV,
And she wrote him.
right? Listen, you're giving
Boy
your
put in
best.
no work. He put no
Right.
work in.
Exactly. You're giving your best and your all, and he's giving you 30 seconds, and he can't even call you at not even a phone call to just say, "Hey, I don't appreciate what you did to get kicked off. I don't agree with that. I don't ride with that. So I'm officially kind of like letting you know I'm distancing myself." Anything, but to not acknowledge her, you are so right. That's ghosting. No other man would be able to do that and get away with it.
And me personally, like when I'm dating, right, I like to hear stories. Like, how did y'all break up? Like, how did you guys walk away? The communication. Like, I feel like it's, we talk about red flags, and I'm probably like the internet's biggest red flag. But like when it comes to like red flags, like I think that is one. If you're gonna break up with someone and you just don't communicate with them, so what happens when we
Mhm.
don't see eye to eye? Are you just gonna not communicate with me? Because it seemed like with Nick, it just he was validated by the fan base for not supporting Sierra. So it's like he had no consequences of not
Yeah.
communicating with her. And I feel like it would have really looked good for Nick. It's been a manly move with all the backlash that Sierra got for him just to have a conversation with her and at least just like brief her on what's up because I feel for Sierra.
Mhm.
I was one of the people that said that. I understand that she said a racial remark and she shouldn't. There's no place for that. But I'm not gonna say that it was intentional. To me, it
Mhm.
came off like more ignorance than intentional. And if she apologized for her, I thought her apology video was good. And it's for people who are still condemning her, it's like, what do you want, man?
Yeah.
You just want to, that to me is nasty when you just want to cancel somebody when they already apologize. So
Yeah.
I just didn't like the fact that Nick didn't come back and have a conversation with her because if this was Alandria and that happened, if Alandria got sent home for something, women would be all over the internet like, how dare you connect with another person? You know how it would have been. So
Mhm.
I just hate
Mhm.
how it's so hypocritical when it comes to reality TV, especially when you're with the fan favorite versus when you're not.
Yep, that's the perfect word. It's hypocritical. I respect people who stand firmly in their opinions or in their decisions. I would prefer people would just say, I just don't like Sierra. So I want her to suffer, right?
Yeah.
I don't care that Nick didn't call her because I don't like her. Instead, they're making excuses about why Nick doesn't owe Sierra that. And I'm like, if you're going to do that, just come out and say why you don't want the girl to have any closure because the excuses are bullshit to me. And
Hmm.
that's the thing. People will make all of these excuses when it's a fan favorite, or in Nick's case, someone who's being shielded by a fan favorite when it's just at the core of it, it was a shitty move. He's shitty for that. But we've seen him be this lustful, kind of sleazy almost guy, and is kind of masked by the fact that he's fun loving and he's charming and you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's like he gets away with a lot of that because he seems like a fun guy.
Yeah.
But in any other case, if he wasn't charming and wasn't with Olandria, he would have been burned at the stake.
Yeah. He would have been, man. It's just, yeah, I'm just like, man, y'all saving Nick, man, because y'all would
Yeah.
not let Taylor get away with this.
No, I mean, they still are on Taylor, and I'm like, Olandria is cool with Taylor. That's another thing. Even if I was gonna get mad at a reality TV personality, once the person that they've wronged is okay with them, I can't be more mad at you than they
No,
are.
no.
She's
But
forgiven
these,
them.
but the fan base, they take it so personal. Like they
Yeah.
really do. They watch it from the lens of what they go through in their life, and then they don't understand that it's a reality TV show. It's different parameters. There's different obstacles. It's not reality. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like people need to understand. Like producers are in our heads. Like if they understand what's going on with America, like for this one, Love Island, it's going on live. You think that
Mhm.
producers are not seeing that Alandria is picking up a lot of steam? You don't think that they orchestrated Nick and Alandria to when they both got kicked off the show to actually meet again? You don't think
Yep.
that was a produced type of thing? That was all producers. So it's like,
Mhm.
and it's so crazy how producers just walk around like their hands are always clean. The fan base never ever like really goes in on them. And it's just even when it came down, I'm going on a tangent again, but like the Yulissa and the Sierra thing is that all stuff like the whole racial slurs, like that shouldn't even have came up. Those stuff should have been wiped from their internet or it should have been called out before the show even aired. Cause like
Mhm.
when we did Love is Blind, we had a session where they would go through our social medias and they would put flags. I remember one time we filmed in 2023. So AD was in me and AD were in each other comments all of 2023, but the show didn't air until 2024. So when
Mhm.
people would have probably looked through our Instagram, they would have saw that, oh, they're flirting with each other on social media. So now they're gonna probably assume or what happened and stuff like that. So they told us to delete all those comments.
Oh,
So we deleted all those
wow.
comments. We deleted, pretty much every type of communication that you had with other cast members and stuff like that, just so the show could kind of showcase how we met and how our relationship was. They didn't want the internet to piece things together. So I'm like, if you got the ability to do that and you going through my Pinterest, my Facebook, my TikToks, my Instagram, why can't we have a team that finds up like racial slurs?
Mhm.
Because they damn sure went through my Facebook and they was pulling up stuff that I said in 2011. This is the media team I'm like, dang, are people
Yeah.
gonna really condemn me for what I said in 2011? But like, I had to delete all that stuff. So you could put in slurs or anything on social media, filter it out, and then tell the person to delete it. So I just don't understand how the producers didn't catch that. And then for them to be like, we thought about this and we're taking time and we're gonna do the righteous thing and get rid of them. No, you're just saving your ass, man. It's just like,
That's it. Yeah,
yeah, it's
that's what
just
it
like,
comes down to.
yep, it's all HR, man.
HR and PR, right? They don't
Yep,
wanna look bad to the public. Because the thing with Ulissa, she was on multiple podcasts saying the
yeah,
N-word, so I'm like, "There's no way nobody caught that." Sierra's was a little more it was in on an Instagram story, I think, if I'm not
yeah.
mistaken. So, like,
Sierra
that
got done dirty because the
yeah,
person who showed those,
revealed
it's
that.
like, damn, you just kept that in the tuck.
In the tug. That's a dirty bitch. Whoever did that,
That's a
dirty.
dirty person, bro.
They were playing the long hater game with Sierra. They were like, we're waiting for her moment and then we're gonna strike. Cause yeah, that was an Instagram story that's up for 24 hours. So unless you intentionally wanted to fuck her up at some point in the future, nobody's thinking about doing that. But for producers, it probably was harder to find Sierra's. And I'm sure
Yeah,
they
I can
went
see
back and
that.
forth. Yeah, do we do something? Because it was also like really late in the season when it came out.
Yeah.
But you listen, I'm sure she promoted some of those podcasts that she was on. A quick listen, you would have heard her.
She said, nigga, hey, she didn't think it was no problem. She was saying it
Yeah.
willy-nilly.
Yeah, it's crazy too because even when her stuff came out in the beginning of the season, it's always split because she's from Miami and people are like, well, Hispanic people in Miami, they're around black people all the time, so they just say it. And then even up on the East Coast, people in New York, they're like, well, when people are Dominican or whatever,
Yeah,
they just say it's just we're all in communities together, so we just pick up on each other's languages. And so I'm like, I can also see how that probably was really confusing to Ulissa, not to
yeah,
excuse her or absolve her, but if you're around other black people and you're saying this and they're not checking you, you
yeah.
probably think you can say it.
And I'm one of those people. I'm from up north, so I grew up with Hispanics and Spanish people, Hispanics, Latinos. They said the N word around me since I
Mhm,
was a kid. So
mhm,
it never was something that I thought was racist because
mhm,
they grew up with me. They was on a football team. They ran track with me. Most of my friends got married.
mhm,
They're one of the best mans. So I never looked at Hispanics saying the N word as racist, and it's even
mm,
hard for me now to accept that as a racist thing because like I said, my boy John and Justin, the Dominicans, I sleep over their crib. Their parents cook for me. Like,
mhm,
no way I could think that they said the N word. No way I could think they're racist. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
So
mhm,
I think that's a proximity thing. And I think that's
mhm,
something that as a black community and as we get older, we kind of understand these things. But when we were younger, the rules were a little bit different. Like what you
yeah,
could get away with was a little bit different. There wasn't as cancel culture. So we're adjusting to things. And I do think that with the cancel culture, we should be more accepted to people being ignorant and not
mhm,
canceling them.
mhm,
Like
mhm,
I don't even think Ulysses should have got canceled. I think it's education. Maybe you kick her off the show. Maybe you
mhm,
kind of discipline her, but I don't think she should get death threats. I don't think she should get her opportunities taken away. Because, like I said, intention matters to me. If you
mhm,
say the N word intentionally being racist, and we know what that feels like as
mhm,
black people,
mhm, mhm,
and when I looked at Yulissa, it just seemed like it was just ignorant. She just saying the N word. She's saying it like how I would say it to my homies and stuff like that.
mhm,
So,
mhm.
and even like the whole Sierra thing. And I know I made a video about this, and the Asian community kind of got on my ass, but I stood firm on it. I just didn't think when she said it, it was of racial intention. That's my take on it. But who am
Yeah.
I? That's the opinions nobody asked for, right?
That's a good point though. With Sierra, I wasn't willing to I'm not Asian, so I'm like, I
Yeah.
can't say if that was an acceptable apology or not, but I
Hmm.
know before I was educated on a lot of things, or just like my worldview, the older you get, the more wise you become. You're
Yeah.
around more people. Like, I don't think a lot of people do it with hateful intentions, but there is a time to learn, right? And it's like we do have to allow people to be ignorant and we have to allow them to be taught in real time. And if they continue with bad behavior, then we can say, okay, we're washing our hands. We can't do anything else.
Yeah.
But people are going to be on their high horses. People love having the control. I think it comes down to power. I think with Sierra specifically, it came down to I want to feel like I have control over her destiny. So like
Hmm.
she did this bad thing. I already don't like her because I want my favorite to be with the guy she's coupled up with. So let's whack her again because I just don't like her.
And that's a
That's
form
how
of
I felt.
bullying.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah, that's a
you
great
know,
point.
it's a form of bullying, and like a lot of these people who are pointing fingers, you did this, they're bullies. You know, they're
Yeah.
bullies. They just want to have some type of power trip. That's why I don't be listening to people on the internet, man. These people are just weirdos.
Yeah, they don't it's a lot of people who just don't have control in their real lives. They're like, don't get
Yeah.
attention in their real lives. And then they go on the internet because that's the place where they can like have some power and some control. It's
On their
really
burner
unfortunate.
accounts.
Exactly. Ugh, don't get me started on the burner accounts. Speaking of TikTok, I saw a video. It was a girl who claimed that she went through the Love Island casting process. And she was saying,
Hmm.
like, you have to take a STD test and you have to pass an STD test in order to go on the show. So I made a
Yeah.
video facetiously saying, oh, you girls are like talking about you don't like the bombshells that are coming in. Maybe it's because they couldn't pass the STD test, just like jokingly,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that people
What
are still
happened?
commenting on that video to this day, and I made that weeks ago. All
Yeah.
right. So some people were just like, oh my gosh, really? Some people were telling me I'm unequivocally wrong. I reached out because I'm a responsible person. I reached out to Peacock directly to get clarification. They left me on red, so I still don't know. And
Yeah.
saying all that to say, I wanted to ask you when you were going through the Love is Blind casting process, were there any tests like that, like STD tests and like psych tests? What was the casting process like for a dating show?
It definitely was a psych test. I can't remember it being an STD test. We had a STD meeting though before we met the women on the other side. So
Mhm.
they went over all these different things. I just don't remember taking a test. And if we did, it wouldn't be a full panel test, you know? I
Right.
definitely don't remember drawing blood for HPV or anything like
Mhm.
that, or, or like HIV. So maybe we peed in a cup, but that's like what, just chlamydia, gonorrhea.
Yeah.
So don't remember doing the STD testing, but I do remember us getting a hour, maybe 90-minute worth of meeting or surrounding STDs, but I
Okay.
don't remember us actually going to a doctor or peeing in a cup or taking drawing blood. I don't remember, but I don't want to stamp that.
Right, and it's my
Yeah.
maybe because Love is Blind is not as physical of a show as Love Island.
Yeah.
Like, Love Island, they're kissing, like, every 5 minutes, and they're kissing everybody in the house, which, by the way, disgusting. Do you think you could do that or go on a show where you have to kiss everybody in a challenge?
I wouldn't want to do that,
Yeah,
but Jazz, they tell you can win 100,000, you might, you might.
I feel that. Money will make you change the way you do things and what your views and stuff like that.
You
But
talk to our producer. How many followers I got? What? I'm at 500,000. Give me that kiss.
right, you kissing people you're not even physically attracted to. Okay, it's 100K and brand deals on the line.
Yeah.
Come here. Uh, do you have any advice for somebody that wants to go on a show, like a reality dating show? What would you tell them or warn them about?
I'll tell black men to don't speak as much and do whatever the girl says for that time being, because most of the time you're not going to get the favorable edit. And from a capitalistic perspective, I understand that because black men are not watching reality TV. Why would I protect them? You know what I'm saying?
Mm,
So I would
that's
tell,
interesting.
and I'm being dead serious about that. I think black men that do reality TV should just don't say as much. Don't be looking around. Don't be that player type. Don't feel that stereotype that they always try to put us in, because even when you're not in that stereotype, you're going to be cast as that stereotype. And I say that, look at Chris. I thought Chris handled himself really great on Love Island, but like Chris is still getting attacked, for being with Huda. Oh, he should have carried her in that water. It's like that girl just
Mhm.
broke up with him and disrespected him and woke him up out of his sleep when they only
Tried to
get 3 hours of
coerce
sleep.
him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's like, but he's still in the wrong. So it's like, for me, when I looked at Chris, I'm looking at him like, damn, I should have done that. I should have done that. And I'm like, this man's still getting killed. So
Yeah.
I just want, for black men, you kind of got to play the game,
Mhm.
essentially, if you want to make it out unscathed, because, you're going to get attacked, especially in this landscape. Another advice is just understand that the camera's always rolling. So don't overspeak. Whatever the question is, or whatever the producers ask, or whatever your spouse says, be very direct. Don't be long winded, because you could get edited saying some bullshit. At the end of the day, this is going to be developed and put onto a TV show. So you just have to be aware of that. But still, in a sense, be yourself. It's a very hard thing to navigate because you just
Yeah.
don't know how they're going to edit you. I would tell people also to be very kind to producers, because
Mhm.
it's the same thing when you're working at a job and you don't want
Yeah.
to burn bridges. Those people could dictate your outcome.
It's unfortunate, especially with production. There's always a story that we're looking to tell, But I
Hmm.
think with reality TV, that story is not always earnest. Actually, I will say in most cases, the story is not an earnest one, right?
Yeah.
They are at the end of the day working for networks, working for production companies where data and ratings are the most important thing. So it's like they want to tell the story that is going to be the most compelling, maybe the most polarizing. So it is unfortunate because when you go on a reality TV show, I think a lot of people go on with the intention to just be themselves, but production wants, at the end of the day, they want people talking about their show. And what makes people talk these days is drama, is
Hmm.
conflict. And that's kind of sad because I think it comes at the expense of a lot of people. And I also wanted to know if you had advice on how people can protect their mental health because you mentioned you were sad, like you found out you were a lot more sensitive because of the backlash. Is there any ways that you would tell people they should try to protect their mental health if they find themselves with the villain edit?
I would say you just have to have a community of people that really love you, and it's going to be really important to make sure that that community is around you and pouring into you.
Mm,
Definitely go to therapy because you're going to want to cry, and some of the stuff that the emotion that you're going through, it's a lot for somebody who isn't going through something similar to understand. You
yeah.
know, like sometimes I felt dumb, like articulating some of the stuff. Oh man, they're saying this online, and you got friends. Well, just don't go online. It's well, very easy for you to say
Right.
when you could go on and no one's talking about you. You know what I mean? Like I go on my algorithm and you see your face. You know, so I would just tell people to just make sure you have a community of people that love you. Try not to be too ingratiated with social media at that time. You could get back on it maybe a month after the show when it dies down, but as it's going on to protect your mental health, making sure that you're doing things that that you love, like whether it's hiking, whether that's just hanging out with friends. The difficult thing, Jazz, going through this is that what one thing for me, I feel like I was always popular in my life, but because of Love Is Blind, it was put out like I was like this red flag, and it wasn't popular being cool with me. Like people, black women would go to my friends like, "This is your friend. This is really your friend."
Oh,
So it wasn't the cool thing to be my friend anymore. Whereas I grew up, I was an athlete, I was the man. Like I've always had my own. So I feel like I've always had people around me. Now realizing it might not been realness around me. I had like
mm,
momentum. It wasn't cool being my friend anymore because my reputation was kind of slighted. So my perception of myself got popped a little bit, and I lost people probably for the good, but at the time it hurts. And one thing that really helped me down was like my circle of friends, and people even arose to being like, they got my back, checking
yeah.
up on me. You really appreciate that. So definitely having that sense of friendship is going to be big, and then having a therapist that you can cry to and get your emotions out to kind of just piece up the pieces together, I think is important.
Yeah, no, that is super important. I think that's important in just like day to day. You gotta have a solid circle of people that wanna
Yeah.
be around you. Has Netflix reached out to you to do any other shows, Perfect Match or anything else?
No, I'm not sure how my relationship is with Netflix. It kind of
Mm,
seems like with me rejecting to do the media rollout with AD, I don't know what that did with my relationship.
right.
I have no problem with Netflix. Like I said, they treated me well. I like the people up there. I wasn't the biggest fan of my edit, but from a capitalistic perspective, I'm big into capitalism, so I understand
You're big
that.
into capitalism.
I am. I understand. I understand you got to take
Most
advantage
people
of
are.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, you gotta take advantage of what you can take advantage of for monetization purposes. So,
sure,
my
yeah.
storyline and what it was, like that probably was the best storyline to get the
Mhm.
momentum going, kind of like what you said. So I understand it. I don't like it, but I understand it. I'm not, you know,
No ill
bent out of
will.
shape about it. No ill will with it. But yeah, I don't think my relationship with Netflix is the best right now, but that's not something that's verified. That's just something that I'm seeing. I don't get invited to nothing. They they be having like the Netflix summer break, and they'll have people who were nowhere near as polarizing as me. Like,
Yeah.
and it's damn, like I can't get an invite, but I almost feel like anything anywhere AD goes, there I'm not allowed to go. So that's kind of how I
Oh,
feel like
that's
it is.
unfortunate. Have you tried
Yeah.
reaching out though? Because sometimes maybe they think you don't wanna be involved, right? Have you tried making it known? "Oh, I saw like you guys did this event, would love to." I'm a huge proponent of I'm gonna put myself in the room if I wanna be there. So I don't know if you're even interested in still being attached to them, I guess.
No, that's a good point. I haven't done that, or
Yeah.
maybe that's something I need to do is put myself out there. You just kind of think, man, all those people who are going, they're not reaching out. Hey, let me get an invite. They're just inviting them. I don't never want to beg to go to a party.
True. Yeah,
Yeah, but I understand your point, and maybe I need to humble myself and ask. But yeah, free
I
free Clay. Invite Clay to a Netflix event
I
today.
know, Netflix, invite him. Clay's so much fun. And speaking of, you mentioned you had gotten into therapy and you're really working on your outlook on relationships. So I have to ask, are you dating anyone now?
No, I'm not dating anyone.
Oh,
Yeah, I know it's really unfortunate. It's really sad. My story's sad. I feel like it's not completed yet. Like I said, my reputation. I was talking to a girl and I really liked her, but it's just kind of unfortunate because they'll see my social media following. They'll see I have a lot. Who is this guy? Look me up, and then you look me up on the internet. It's like probably not the most pleasable thing. So I remember the girl. She showed it to her parents, and they're watching. Like I'm saying no to a black woman. So it's, you sure you want to talk to this guy? So I almost feel like I'm
wow.
always having to like fight against perception. And so it's a little bit difficult for me to find love. It's not like I go out alone like I used to, and I can meet
Mhm.
somebody out in person. I get recorded when I go out. Most of my friends I used to go out with, they're married now. So it's like I don't have people that I'm comfortable with to even go out with. So most of the time I meet people through social media. That could be good, that could be bad. But I'm patient. I'm not like feeling it's not gonna work out for me. I know that I want a family, I want love, that's what I desire. And I'm just gonna keep being myself and looking at God's sign. And I'm sure when it's ready for me, it'll come.
Well, ladies, you hear it here. He's single. If you're interested, shoot your shot at Clay. For the love of Clay, that's the next show we need to have. We
Oh
need to have
no.
you do. In closing, would you do any other reality TV shows like outside of Netflix? So, like we have like The Traders, The Challenge. There's so many other shows where they're taking reality TV stars from other shows and putting them on. Would you do any of those?
Yeah, I'm open to anything. I'm pretty open. I guess it just got to be the right timing.
Mhm.
I run a business. It's pretty busy throughout the summer. We're doing really well. I wouldn't really want to be gone for long periods of time, which is kind of the issue with reality TV. And also, too, Jazz, I'm comfortable living my regular life.
Right.
With having people forget about me, I'm also comfortable with that.
Okay.
But if it made sense, if it was the right show, if it was the right money, then I'm open to it.
I do
Okay.
want to thank you again for coming and just chatting all things Love is Blind, Love Island with
Yep.
me. Let people know where they can find you if they don't know already, because you do have the followers, but you have great takes. So I think people should follow you. Let them know where they can do that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, my name is Clay. You guys can follow me on Instagram at Clay_Gravesande. That's on Instagram and that's on TikTok. You can also follow my business page, wavesandy.rentals. And you can find that also on my TikTok, Clay at Gravesandy page, or my Instagram page. So that's how you find me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Clay. I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good one. Good talking to you, Jazz.
Thank you guys so much for tuning into my conversation with Clay from Love is Blind. I really liked talking to him. I think he needs a second shot. Like, just because we see somebody's worst moments or a bad moment from them on reality TV, that doesn't define who they are as a person. So I hope we can see Clay on TV again so that he can have his own redemption arc, just like Huda did. But tune in next time. Bye.